Or is there something that is fundamentally wrong with outsourcing companionship to AI, even if it solves real loneliness?
These algorithms know us better than we know ourselves.
It's always on. It's listening to everything you say.
For certain people, it will completely blow their world that their best friend is now just been completely wiped.
I just think we could do better as humans.
It's a circle jerk with people propping each other up.
Are humans being taken over in every aspect of digital life? The answer seems to be yes, where Elon's concerned.
I left the truth behind a long, long time ago.
Where is $200 million of expenses going? This is crazy for a company like that. It literally is just pages of text, encyclopedia. It's insane.
Hello and welcome to episode 99 of Disconnected. I'm your host, Jag Sharma, live and in living colour in Hong Kong. And I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jason Kapadia in Dubai, Felina Kadaktan in London, and Matt Webster in Rio de Janeiro. And together, we'll be delving into the world of AI, tech, and social media, and how it's impacting society and culture. Coming up, we're 99 episodes in, and I'm going all the way back to episode 1. Felina's making friends with AI, Jason's crashing the stock market, as well as other trending topics. Let's get straight into it, guys, and I'm going back to episode 1. We're 99 episodes in, and I'm finding myself circling back to something I covered way back when on episode 1 of Disconnected. Way back in May 2021, a most peculiar, persistent little spectre, a notion so tenacious it would put a barnacle to shame. The belief, the absolute conviction that nestled right there in our pockets is a brilliantly disguised electronic eavesdropper, that our every conversation about, let's say, Peruvian alpaca wool socks is being dutifully recorded and dispatched to a shadowy advertising committee in Silicon Valley. And the myth has gotten so terribly out of hand that the head of Instagram himself, one Mr. Adam Mosseri, has taken to his own platform a reel, if you can believe it, to deliver a public service announcement, looking right into the camera with the earnest sincerity of a man trying to convince his aunt that he's not a space lizard. We are not listening, he insists. But the plot, my friends, thickens. For a while, he's denying the existence of the clunky, old-fashioned wiretap. His own company is quietly rolling out a new policy. They're rolling out a new policy that will use your conversations with artificial intelligence to target you with even more surgical precision. They're essentially saying, good heavens, we don't need the microphone. You'll soon be telling our AI agents all your little secrets voluntarily. So they're retiring the imaginary spy in favor of a digital psychoanalyst you carry with you. The truth is, the reality that this is perhaps more boring and frankly more brilliant than simply listening in. It's a vast interlocking web of data, a digital doppelganger of you, so accurate it feels like clairvoyance. So here we are, episode 99, talking about something that I was talking about on episode 1. Where are we with this? Would love your thoughts. Do we think that the platforms are eavesdropping on us through our microphones on our smartphones, or do they not need to? And the age of AI is just going to completely know us more than anything and give us even more targeted ads. Keen for your thoughts. Are we entering into the completely known?
Well, I think there's two things at play here. The first bit, which is what Adam Mosseri spoke about down into the lens of the camera so earnestly, talking about arguments with his wife, is Instagram listening to people on their phones. Absolutely not. The amount of data that they have to sift through, I mean, that's like CIA to the power of a million. So that's just I've never thought that was possible. However, you can see how people do think it's possible. Quick example, I was looking to buy a 4x4 a couple of years ago, and I got inundated with Jeep ads. Me and my missus are like, they're listening. but it's just because of our search history and the fact that it was good targeting from Jeep. So the first part are the platforms is Instagram listening to your microphone while your phone is sat idle. Can see why people think that. Never thought that was possible. The second bit, where you're voluntarily talking to the AI, now that is different. As long as they tell you in the small print that they're going to use your questions, your language, your conversations with the AI, they've kind of got you. And that's completely different because the setup is not idle listening to you at all times. It's when you're engaging with their AI. So that's my take on it. I don't believe anyone's ever been listening on my microphone. I don't have tinfoil hats that I wear at night when I'm chatting to my missus, but I am concerned about AI listening and using my conversations.
I bet we all think that we are these independent beings and we're not influenced by anything, but it kind of really shows that if what you're saying is true, Jag and Matt, that they're not listening, that's so much of what we end up talking about are things that have been influenced by what we've seen on social media or on our phones and something. So we're thinking that with that thought has come to us completely independently, but it's like we're completely predictable, it seems like. And also in terms of the conversations you have with your friends, you know, these algorithms know us better than we know ourselves. And what I did is I went into my iPhone settings, went to privacy, microphone, and literally turned off everything because I was feeling like something is listening to me. And I did that the same on my wife's phone. But it still was coming up with such relevant stuff. It's just like these algorithms, they know us so well. And when I was talking about, I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago, about how the algorithm influences us so much that like I feel like so many things I've done in my life is because of the algorithm. I probably moved country because of the YouTube algorithm and the videos it was serving up to me, because you know, it was pushing me in this certain direction and showing me certain things. I just think that, you know, he's right to have addressed this and like telling everyone, look, we're not listening to you, but it doesn't change the fact that like it can feel really creepy. What do you think, Felina?
I just think it's crazy that you were talking about how the algorithm influence you to move countries. But you know, I get it. I think it influences my shopping habits, so I totally get it. But I think to what Matt said, it's true. I don't think you know, any device is listening to us. It really is just based on your intent and what you are searching for. But when it comes to, I guess, like on the AI piece, it will probably be, I don't know, at some point now that we've got the proliferation of like agents and how they know you so well, like so intimately, and there's no real answer from, you know, anyone at the big AI firms telling us what they're going to do about ethics and privacy. I think that will probably be a worry. I do hope that they will, you know, sort of resolve that and like reassure us in a very confident manner. But yeah, I guess it's one to watch. I am still like, I'm still wanting to laugh about you being influenced to move countries by the algorithm, but hey, here we are.
But it's an interesting thing Jason's raised, because what if a place wants more people? So let's say, whatever, Saudi Arabia wants more people to move there, and with AI agents knowing everything about us, that, you know, could be influenced. If someone is more likely to be convinced to move, maybe they could be convinced to move somewhere like Saudi Arabia or Portugal.
It could, but it also depends on the person, right? Because you know how I see sometimes on Instagram like ads or content about, ooh, this remote Irish island is offering anyone 250,000 euros to like come and live on the island. I mean, I'm tempted, you know, if like it depends on what the person wants. Like so I feel like, yeah, if your AI agent specifically knows that you are easily swayed by like the remote life and there is like monetary incentive, hell yeah, I'm sure it will like feed you.
I just
all
realized
of that.
we've all moved. So Felina,
Yeah.
you were in Singapore, now you're in London. Matt was proudly in Sheffield, now he's in Rio de Janeiro, and Jason will follow the money.
Always. I'm Indian.
And what about you then, Jag? Hey, what do you move for?
That's a good point, actually. I did move for work. Matt, did you move for work? You moved for love, didn't you?
Yeah, moved for love. It was a very analog experience for me. I landed in Rio de Janeiro and I physically looked around at the place, and my first thought was, holy shit, how do I live here? How can I manufacture my life so that I live here? So I was my algorithm. I can proudly say that. But going back to, I also think it's hilarious how Jason thinks he's been manipulated by the algorithm to like change his entire life. It's brilliant. So here's a quick thing that you could do, Jason. You could get a to-do list each morning of completely random subjects like ice cream in Finland, how to talk to a penguin, I like Mars, something like this, and just type it. Just make sure you do that every day. And the algorithm's going to be like, Jesus, what is this guy up to? What do we feed this guy? And just see where that takes you in life. It's quite a good little project for you.
All right. Next, you're going to hear from me. I'm going to be moved to Finland and then Mars, right?
I just want to know what kind of Dubai content you were consuming on YouTube.
Actually, it wasn't Dubai content. It was more like the UK is going on a downward trajectory. And yeah, it just made me see a lot of the things. Was it blue pilled or red pilled? Damn, I forgot what it's called.
I'm sure you've taken all the pills.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on, guys, because we got a busy episode and there's lots of interesting stuff to cover. And you know what? Let's move on to Felina. Felina, you have finally seen the light. You've joined me on embracing AI as a friend. And I'm glad you've made a friend in London. Tell us more.
I mean, there is this new Friend. I don't know whether I've seen the light, but Friend is basically this AI wearable that has just launched recently, and it's a little white disc on a necklace. So it looks like an AirTag with a microphone that's always listening to you. It costs about, $129 with no subscription. And the pitch is that it becomes your actual companion. So how it works is, the fact that it's always on, it's listening to everything you say, and even the ambient like noises around you. So it processes all of that with AI, and it will text you back throughout the day. Like basically like a friend checking in, making like observations, or just, being there. So the more you talk to it, the more it learns about you and builds this like relationship. The creepy thing is, obviously, all your memories are encrypted on the device itself. So if you lose it or it breaks, then those memories are like, whatever, gone forever. It's like essentially losing an actual friend. So, bit of backstory, the founder is this like 22-year-old guy. He's a Harvard dropout. His name is Avi Schiffman. He's raised like $7 million for this particular brand and product. And he admitted that he talks to his friend more than real people and called it his most consistent friend. Now, the battery for this thing lasts about a day. It's made in Canada, and they've sold about 5,000 units so far. And then obviously off the back of, like the brand and the product launch, they also went a bit ham with like the marketing campaign. So what they did was they spent like $1 million plastering like New York subways with black and white, ads that read like desperate relationship promises. So for example, I will never bail on our dinner plans. That splash on like, a subway ad. Or another one where it reads, I'll binge the entire series with you. And so New Yorkers who are, encountering these ads, they start vandalizing them, spray painting that AI's trash, surveillance capitalism, Big Brother, Brave New World, whole shebang. And Schiffman, who is the founder of Friend, has admitted that that was the whole point, that he called it Ragebait, to buy mindshare and generate controversy. So essentially, if we were to sum it up, it's like if you took the movie Her and you crossed it with like the darkest episode of Black Mirror, and we're literally living in that future right now. So my question for you guys is this: if this thing actually worked perfectly and gave you genuine emotional support, would you actually wear it? Or is there something that is fundamentally wrong with outsourcing companionship to AI, even if it solves real loneliness?
I like it. I like it for several reasons. I can't say I like the current version. The necklace looks a bit clunky, but I like the idea of it. I like the theory of it for a variety of reasons. There are lots of lonely people out there, lots. And sometimes people just need reassurance. They have anxiety. They need to build confidence. And having that with you is kind of like having a friend on your shoulder that can be there for you and that can encourage you and spur you on. In the promotional video, I did see that in the part where the guy was terrible at video games, that the necklace made fun of him. So I was a little unsure of how positive of a friend it would be, but then maybe it tunes to your personality. You know, a confident person like Matt might like that in his AI friend, but like me, who needs reassurance, you know, and I'm a shy person, maybe I need to be brought out of my shell and I need to get that encouragement, you know, like, you got this, episode 99, you've done it before, you know. So I think it's a good thing. And I think about people, there are a lot, genuinely, I know people that I think could benefit from this. And, you know, they're introverts, or they lack confidence, or they're a little bit lonely without wanting to admit it. I think it's possible, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would specifically wear this or any type of device like this, to answer your question, Felina. Like, I just think it would be so weird. Okay, if I was by myself and I needed a companion to talk to, that's fine. But then I meet a friend down the road. They're going to look and see this, and I was like, oh, are you recording our conversation? What's going on? Do I even want to express my feelings around you? Especially if you're talking crap about each other like friends do and whatever. Do you want to be seen as the bully? But also I've been checking X for, you know, like user reviews and whatever on this, and I've been seeing that you start this conversation up with it, and you kind of like, it gets to know you, but there's been like spontaneous memory wipes. And so like just mid conversation, it will forget who you are and everything. And it's like starting off afresh. And I can see that for certain people, it will completely like blow their world that their best friend is now just been completely wiped. So yeah, that's a bit of an oddity about it. But obviously they'll fix that. But as a device, it's just not for me. I don't know if I like talking to something all the time, but I don't know. What about you, Matt? What do you think?
Well, first of all, the design looks a bit like, and I'm going to age myself here, the design looks a bit like soap on a rope. And this is like something that like I used to get at Christmas. Yeah. Remember like the Old Spice, you get in a soap and it like, I mean, what was that stuff anyway? But so that was my first thought when I saw it. The second thing was, hang on, wasn't this design also kind of put out there when, you know, that weird promotional video where Sam Altman and Johnny Ive go skipping through the streets of San Francisco, and they go in that little cafe and start chatting about how they're going to change the world. They're going to stop screens from being our main interaction. They're going to change our relationship with tech. And what came out, they were kind of really vague. They kind of like looked lovingly into each other's eyes, had a coffee and said, watch this space. And then obviously that was May of this year. We haven't heard much since. There's still kind of rumblings of this family of devices that they're going to bring out. But I even read in an article when I was looking up Friend, and Friend was mentioned in the article of the Johnny Ive, Sam Altman kind of merger. So it's been there before. So are Johnny Ive and Sam Altman, is Johnny Ive the iPhone designer, you know, the world's best designer? Is he going to copy this 22-year-old dropout's kind of device? I don't know. So that's interesting. That was interesting for me to think about what OpenAI are promising to bring out, and then this crazy tech dropout that's getting all this investment. Second thing I thought was young people. I don't want my daughter to become best friends with friend. Sorry, I had to get it in there. So the in-betweeners reference. Ooh, friend. I really don't want my daughter to become best friends with an AI agent or with this device. That would at my gut instinct level freak me out. And I understand that it would help some people. I think adults, fully grown, developed adults that have developed a personality in the real world can then go on to use Friend. developing brains that are interacting with the world and growing, to plug friend into that, I'm not comfortable with that. So those are my thoughts on it. Would I wear it? No, I wouldn't. I think it would be helpful. Maybe have it in the office, sat there, like behind me. But again, isn't that like a really annoying colleague that's constantly looking over your shoulder at your screen? I'm not convinced, but I'm sure it will help some people. But I would put caution on young people using it.
Friends forget you, though. Jason's point about user experience. Friends forget you. I had a friend, he was in London, he moved to Dubai, completely forgot me. We used to talk on the phone. We don't talk anymore.
So is it like grief management as well then? So,
It could
imagine
be.
if it kind of it's your best friend for ages, and then one day it just says, sorry, mate, I'm done. Just like in Her, where, he falls in love with his operating system. And then one day she just says, look, I'm far too intelligent and interested in the universe. I'm off. And then you've got to kind of get over the grief of losing someone. So is it helpful in that way?
Yeah.
So if it is helpful, then Matt, would you let your daughter use it?
If it's helpful in grief management, I just said. So no, I'm not. I mean, grief management can come from having a dog that one day is no longer there, but from something that was devised by a Harvard tech dropout in Palo Alto. No, sorry.
All right, fair enough.
Sorry, I'm not going to give that to my daughter.
Get her a rabbit.
I'll test it out first.
Get her a rabbit or a hamster. Understood.
I do want to see more reviews from actual people, though, who have bought it. But hey, I guess time will tell. Because to me, it's like, I don't know, are people using it as like more of like as a soundboard, for example, to, just brainstorm ideas and things like that? Because, it's interesting, but let's see. I would rather talk to myself than talk to friend, but hey ho, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. I met a New York Times bestseller who's actually like one of my neighbors from a couple of doors down. He's written some really amazing AI books, and he says instead of buying a device like this, he just pops in his AirPods, turns on ChatGPT, and then just talks to it there. And before, when he wrote his first book a couple of years ago, or maybe it was 10 years ago, he said he used to get months of brain fog as an author. And now with ChatGPT and his AirPods, he just goes out for a walk and he uses it as a sounding board, like, help me reframe this idea. And he wrote his most recent book in 4 months, which is like a record for him. So he's saying, so these type of sounding boards, like you're saying, Felina, is probably like the best bang for your buck when it comes to these type of devices.
Meanwhile, my neighbour is a retired Chinese lady who sometimes I'll take her parcels for her and then deliver them to her. So we live in very different worlds, Jason. Who's your other neighbour?
Just a regular guy.
Yeah, fair enough.
But in that example of your mate, your neighbour, the world famous author who's boshing out books, in this latest example, shouldn't he put Sam Altman as his co-author then?
Interesting. I should ask him about that. Maybe I can get him on the pod and he can tell us himself.
Yes, let's get him in trouble.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be more than happy for you to suggest to put Sam Altman on his book. He'll be like, oh yeah, thanks, Jace. Thanks, yeah. Great. I wanted to just pick up on the Ragebait marketing that Felina talked about as well at the beginning when she was introducing this friend device and platform. And I think it's really, for me as a marketer, it's really annoying that society has got to this place where Ragebait is so effective. Only recently, I was having quite a heated discussion, an interesting discussion about Ryanair. Ryanair, their whole brand strategy is based on Ragebait. So they know that they're the cheapest airline. They know that people hate them, and they play on it. And it can get pretty edgy. It can get pretty nasty if you don't have a sense of humor. And what happens is the majority of people get annoyed by Ryanair's marketing, and that creates more attention for them. I just think we could do better as humans. Can't we create entertaining, positive, funny, immersive learning experiences as advertising rather than just, I'm going to offend you, which is what Ryanair does, and which is what Friend has done. So I just wanted to put that bit in there because it's kind of a bugbear of mine.
I agree. It's also like how, they take it out of context and out of the home with you remember for a while there was the whole stuff around Karen's Diner, where you specifically go to a restaurant for the wait staff to insult you. And that's the experience. And it's like, why? We're just regressing as like a society and being very happy about the doom and gloom and the negativity. But hey ho.
Yeah, Karen's Diner is a very kind of masochistic experience. I saw a few videos online of people like filming it, saying, "Go on, look, the waiter's about to tell me to go F myself." Yeah, that is a bit of a low form of entertainment, isn't it? But yeah, humans are going to human.
There's a chain of, I think they're a chain now. The original bar was in London. It's called Alcatraz, and it's a prison. And you go there, and they're all like actors or whatever, and you'll get 2 cocktails, but you're a prisoner. But then the prison guards completely berate you and make fun of you and talk down to you. And, it wasn't cheap. I went there like 7-8 years ago, and it wasn't cheap then. And I remember going there, and literally the prison guard was like making fun of my appearance. And then I was thinking, but I paid for this. I paid for this.
Wow.
I'm getting completely torn to pieces. And so, and then I know they opened another one in Britain somewhere, and then I think they took it to another country. But yeah, I guess it's is it a place for failed actors to take their anger out on others? I don't know. Anyway.
Here's an idea for you, Jag. Get Friend and then go back to that bar and see if you can navigate it better whilst you're being berated by the prison guards. Perhaps, you got Friend necklace on and it's telling you how to, here's the best comeback for that. Perhaps that's the best usage.
That's a good point.
You could think of for Friend going to, yeah.
Plus it'll all be recorded for future legal action. Definitely a good friend.
Perfect.
Yeah. Do you know what? Thank you, Felina. Thank you for that wonderful story. If I had disposable income, I might consider getting Friend, but can't even get a new iPhone with my money right now. So let's move on. And do you know what? Let's move on to Mr. Money himself. Jason, you're crashing the stock market. Tell us how.
Oh, man. You guys have probably seen there are these massive AI tech valuations today. It feels like AMD, Nvidia, Oracle, and OpenAI might be wrapped up in what kind of feels like a big fat circle jerk. Yeah, I said it. Where they're kind of all propping each other up, which seems like they're just trying to keep this party going. I mean, don't get me wrong, my portfolio loves it, but I'm thinking it could unwind pretty quickly and spoil everything for everyone. And if we start with the numbers, they're eye-opening. Right now, as of October 2025, Nvidia's market cap is hovering around $4.5 trillion. It's insane. It's making it the most valuable company on the planet. GDP is bigger than most countries. And AMD, a key player in chips too, is valued about $340 billion as of today. Oracle, leaning hard into cloud services, sits around $800 billion. And OpenAI, we just talked about them, I don't know, it feels like 10, 20 episodes ago, were about 100 billion back then. Now it's 500 billion, right? And it just seems crazy because 5 years ago, these valuations should just be, you would have never heard about them. But now this is it's just crazy that companies can just come to these type of valuations so quickly. Now the circled part of the circle jerk is how these players are all intertwined, trading money and tech in ways that boost each other's books without a ton of outside validation. Take OpenAI. They've inked a $100 billion deal with Nvidia for chips and equity, where Nvidia is basically funding OpenAI to buy more of its hardware. And then just last week, OpenAI announced a massive partnership with AMD, potentially worth billions in chip sales, giving OpenAI a 10% stake in AMD in return, which sent AMD's stock up 23% in one day. I think some guy I saw on Reddit turned $10,000 into almost $1 billion through options trading. I don't know if it was true or not, but if the guy did, it's insane. And all these things are known by the insiders. But anyway, let's not get into that, right? Oracle's in the mix too, building out OpenAI's data centers and committing $40 billion to Nvidia GPUs just for that project. And this is a closed loop. Nvidia supplies the power, OpenAI builds the models, AMD and Oracle handle the infrastructure, and they all cross-invest to keep revenues looking strong. Even Sam Altman admitted earlier this year that the AI market feels bubbly, and that was earlier this year, and it's gone up like crazy since then. And the thing is, everyone is betting big, but without clear payoffs. And here's where the data makes it more concerning, right? A recent MIT survey of over 300 companies found that 95% are seeing zero return on their AI investments so far. No productivity boost, no cost savings, just expenses piling up. Meanwhile, the Bank of England issued a fresh warning this week about a growing risk of sudden market correction tied to this AI frenzy, with global spending on infrastructure projected to hit $400 billion this year alone. And, Goldman Sachs CEO is saying the same type of thing. And, so what does this kind of mean for the stock market? It's not just about tech that's exposed. It's the AI leaders that make up 30% of the S&P 500. If demands for chips slows or one of these deals kind of falters, and if OpenAI's losses keep on climbing despite their revenue bump that they've had, this could trigger a 20 to 30% drop in these stocks, pulling the broader index down 10 to 15%. And we've seen echoes of this before, where the Nasdaq lost like 78% in the .com bust, and with the whole web thing kind of running out of steam. But we're just looking at today's world with high interest rates and global tensions. A similar unwind could spark wider fears, credit tightens, layoffs hit, with all the things we've been talking about, how AI is potentially taking a job, and suddenly your pension funds feels the pinch. Yeah, but this is not saying that AI is going anywhere. We've talked about it in pretty much every episode. The real winners will emerge, but the risk is getting caught up in the overvaluation and all of the circle jerk that's happening. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do these deals seem sustainable, or are we overdue for a reality check?
Before we go past it, Jason, to clarify, it's a circle jerk with people propping each other up?
Yeah, it's been that they're all massaging each other's fingers, right?
Wow.
That they're all investing into each other. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Sorry, I think Felina wanted to say something to that. Thank you.
Oh Lord. You started with that, Jack. All right. Okay. No, I think it's for developers and entrepreneurs, like this, circle jerk it opens like exciting possibilities for like building, adaptive, personalized experiences that, sort of like meet users where they already are. But I guess the key question for me is like whether this, consolidated approach actually, I guess, yeah, serves us like users better than like the autonomy and specialization of standalone apps. But yeah, I mean, if like OpenAI and the likes can sort of prove that conversational orchestration like genuinely saves time and reduces like complexity rather than just, sort of like this centralized control, then yeah, they may have just like identified the next platform shift in computing. But who knows? That's just one way to look at it. I mean, the whole concept of it just sounds yeah. Yeah, I don't have to say it, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel as though do we all get like a point every time we say circle jerk? Or should we like put a little ding every time we say it in post-production? But in that circle of jerkers, you've got Nvidia, OpenAI, Oracle. And some of the numbers that you were talking about, Jason, they're the kind of numbers that Trump talks about, in his off-the-cuff chats on Air Force One. Yeah, well, using his hands as he does. But those numbers are insane. I can't remember what you just said. Nvidia was 4.3 trillion. Insane. I thought it was 2 trillion, but that was probably last month. So my thoughts on this was, if this is going on, it's going to be a weak link. Something will happen that, if it does tumble down, will bring it tumbling down. Now, I'm not a financial expert, but my first thought was, will that be the energy requirements that are needed for these data centers, these mega clusters that are being built? by these companies? And will the energy requirements and the environmental damage, I know this is thinking that everybody cares about the planet, which doesn't always ring true, but will that become the weak link, that they finally realize that there's just too much, they've reached a plateau? Or I guess not, because if money's being made, it'll just carry on happening. So is that the weak link, the energy requirements?
So definitely the energy part is a major hurdle that needs to be tackled. But here, the core infrastructure build out here, I don't think is going to be the major stumbler in terms of the valuations, because basically it's all about whether this house of cards, which is being built by everyone kind of giving each other money and to buy Nvidia chips and then investing and doing all of that stuff, is going to just cause the market sentiment, some big bank or fund like BlackRock, to just all of a sudden lose faith in one of those in the circle, because maybe their users are declining, or like just looking at their financials, they're losing too much money because all these companies are hemorrhaging money at the moment. They're not really making the revenues that they need to justify these valuations. So it's all on hype. So that's the main thing at the moment. There's tons of technical challenges. They do need to build loads of these like power plants, especially in I think it was an episode that you did 2 or 3 weeks ago where you were talking about the UK being, what was that, last week?
That was last episode, yeah.
Yes,
it was about AI startups moving to the UK. Are you a UK ambassador as well?
No. So in the last episode, you guys talked about the UK being this AI hub. But the problem is that it's one of the most expensive places in the world to buy energy, because of their convoluted policies about having to pay for the highest price electricity. Anyway, what I'm saying is that places like that, like the UK, aren't really going to be an AI hub if you don't have the cheap energy that goes along with it, because even you might have the greatest talent there, but all of those data centers are going to be located somewhere else in the world, with that type of energy costs. But anyway, I digressed. To Jag, what do you reckon? Do you reckon the stock market crash is coming?
I don't know about the stock market, but your point about electricity prices, I think, super spot on. I had a call with someone last week who is investing in Ethiopia because that is one of the countries that has some of the lowest priced electricity, and they're going to build they are building data centers there, which they're going to run out of Ethiopia and then rent that space out. And so, yeah, I think your point about our topic 2 weeks ago, Matt was very much wrong. Yes, thank you, Jason, for clarifying on that.
No, I think all the other points are right. I think a lot of the other points are right. It's just, it won't be the place for data centers. It would just be the place for the smartest minds to potentially code the algorithms.
And go to Dubai. Yes. But on the stock market, it's all based on confidence, isn't it? So if the people still believe in it, it'll prop things up. It's when people stop believing it. We saw it at the turn of the century with the .com bubble bursting, and, we've seen it a couple of times since. So I don't think we've got anything to worry about, but what do I know? I am not a stock market expert.
The other thing to mention is now we've got these brand personalities, these mega brand personalities, that if they whisper anything about any kind of news or investment, the stock market reacts immediately. So if Elon says jump, the stock market says how high. So that wasn't the case before in the .com boom. So we've got this brand personalities that are, that are just going to keep us onwards and upwards. Because if they don't want it to crash, so if they put information out that's positive, then the stock market will react positively, I guess, for a while.
Yes, super valid point. Elon's never short of a quote, especially at a rally or two. Do you know what? Let's move on, guys, and thank you for that, Jason. Let's go to our last topic for the day, Matt. I can't believe Matt's going to talk about something Elon related and it's not Jason. So, yeah, Jason, look with envy. Go on, Matt, update us.
I kind of talk about Elon for Jason, just so that just to entertain him, and just to feed him with his hero's latest antics. And his latest antics are he wants to take over something else, because he obviously wants to take over the world, the solar system, and then Mars. And he was on the All In Summit, which was in LA last month, speaking about everything to do with himself and what he's up to, how he's changing the world, Grok 5, creating Colossus 2, this mega data center in Memphis. I mean, it sounds like something out of a science fiction book. Anyway, what popped up in that conversation was Elon thinks Wikipedia is losing the plot. It's too woke. It's time for something better. All the sycophants in the audience, I don't know if you were there, Jason, they all clapped along when he said that, and he mentioned that he was bringing out Grokiepedia. I've looked into this. Grokiepedia is being built. It's got a landing page already, and I just think, like, are humans being taken over in every aspect of digital life? The answer seems to be yes, where Elon's concerned, because Wikipedia is what it's going up against, what it's trying to replace. It's humans, it's volunteers, it's Wikipedians, as they're called, that make up the 7+ billion articles on there. I still use Wikipedia, maybe because I'm an oldie. I still use it for top-line insights, top-line research and work, mainly to look at who the parent company of all these brands are. And secondly, I use it for football. I like to go in there and figure out nostalgia and stats on ex-football players. So it is something that I use. So my questions to you guys are, what do you think to Elon's latest encroachment in taking over the world? And do you use Wikipedia, and will you use Grokiepedia?
I don't use Wikipedia anymore, because when I Google, the result is there. The AI search comes at the top, and then therefore I don't have to click. I don't use many things anymore. Not even IMDb, because I'll just search it. What was she in? And then the AI result will just tell me. So yeah, I haven't used Wikipedia for quite a while, but 5 years ago, that would be one of my first go-to places for information. It's crazy how things change. So yeah, no, I don't use Wikipedia. Would I use Grokiepedia? I don't use Grok, so I'm unlikely to use Grokiepedia. Can't even say Grokiepedia. 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 Grokkie.
It sounded like you were saying guacamole almost,
Yeah.
but yeah, Grokiepedia.
Grokiepedia or Grokiepedia?
Grokiepedia?
Grokiepedia.
You're grokky.
But guacamole tie-up would be a great brand collab, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Guacamole brings Grokiepedia.
So Matt's grokky and Felina's grokka.
Wait, how do you just trust the AI summary, Jag? And you don't check the source and sort of back it up? Because you know how those AI summaries can be quite, I guess, in a way that some of the data might not be accurate, or some of the information might not be accurate. Do you just trust it at face value?
Felina, I've worked in social media for 14 years. I am a stranger to the truth. I left the truth behind a long, long time ago. And I just want whatever's the fastest and kind of makes sense to me. It goes through a very light filter, like very light filter paper of, does it sound plausible? Yes, it does.
Thanks for killing the internet, Jag.
So when the Onion surfaces some articles, you're like, yeah, I believe that too. It's as truthful as The Guardian.
Again, I don't know who wrote it behind The Onion versus The Guardian, and it's just give me the AI summary, give me the balance view.
No, okay, fine.
Fine. Hey, Felina, if you're gonna lay into anyone on this pod, it's not me. It's Mr. Elon lover Jason. He's got a lot of answering to do. Some of the stuff Elon has been saying lately, appearing via satellite at a certain rally and telling people to fight, and Jason will be like, no, but it's just, he just does it for shits and giggles. Yeah, sure. Getting involved in other countries' politics.
It's overstepping.
Yeah, so don't.
I don't think I will use Grokiepedia though. But hey,
remember, don't forget Brazil. He's encroaching Brazil as well as the UK.
Remember, Labour representatives flew at the taxpayers' expense to the US to rally for Vice President Harris for the presidency. Remember that? Yeah.
No, that is not strong conviction yours. You would not do well on a politics podcast, Jace.
But okay, let's get back to Grokiedia. Would I use it? And the thing is, if like I would rather use something like Perplexity or even like the newest versions of Gemini and ChatGPT, all put their sources in there. Some of them are a little bit more hidden away, but like the benefits of using AI rather than using like Wikipedia as an actual source is that you can get like so many different sources to give you a summary, so you get more of a overall picture of what's going on about a certain topic. Wikipedia is just one source, but it seems to have been kind of corrupted. What really put me off using it is it keeps on asking for those silly donations all the time, right? And the thing is, I looked up their balance sheet. There's a couple of guys who've done this already and then like looked through it. Like they have like $250 million sitting on their balance sheet, $271 million actually. So they're making tons of money from these donations. And I don't understand. It's all volunteers writing this stuff and moderating and stuff like that. Where is $200 million of expenses going? This is crazy for a company like that. It literally is just pages of text, encyclopedia. It's insane. And so there seems to be some, I guess, there's some claims that saying that, it's very Marxist and all of that type of stuff. I don't know if that's actually true in terms of the moderation team that actually really gets the final say. But I don't know if that's actually true or not. But like I said, I'd rather use something, even if Grokiepedia is like Perplexity and all the rest of it, then it's just another source to get information from. And then you use your AI to disseminate all of that stuff in this current world. I think that's the best way to go.
Do you know what that reminds me of? My mum got annoyed with Duolingo for constantly reminding her that she needs to keep using Duolingo. So she quit Duolingo. I'm like, what? It's just a reminder to keep you engaged. And that's what you just sounded like when you're like, they just keep asking me for donations. I mean, give the donation or click the X. I mean, it's not that big a deal. But I think, that's the first time you've reminded me of my mum, Jason. He called
them Marxist. He called Wikipedia Marxist.
I'm saying that look, it's saying that it's been the ideology of that Wikipedia. Sorry, the ideology of there's been accusations of political and ideological bias, right? And it's been apparently infiltrated by left-wing pro-Marxists and woke agendas. Apparently, that's what they say. Whoa, I don't know because I don't use it that much. I don't know. This is what I'm saying. That like. Yeah. And so look, even the co-founder.
You need to wear a Tesla t-shirt for the next episode.
Even the co-founder of Wikipedia, right, said that it's been completely corrupted and driven politically. So if your co-founder is saying that, then hey, I'm just telling what's on the internet. So,
it took 99 episodes, but we finally got the real Jason to come out of his shell.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying obviously Elon hates all of that stuff, so that's why he's doing it. I'm not saying I would use Grokiepedia. I say I use an AI to give me both sides of the story. That's what I'm saying.
If Wikipedia is Marxist, we got to lock you in a room debating with Felina for an hour. She'll come out saying, "Oh, she's communist."
I'm just saying what it says here on the.
Do you know what? No, but it's good. Honestly, Jace, it's good. It's good that you said that, and it's good that we have balance on this podcast. I'm thankful that you're on this pod. I'm equally thankful that Felina's on this pod as well. We've got balance. It's yin and yang.
Do you know what though? I think the Oxford English Dictionary is so woke. I just want to get that out there. It really is. I mean, all those woke words in there. Unbelievable.
Are you saying you prefer Merriam-Webster? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Merriam-Webster the whole way. No bias with my name at all.
Guys, before this descends, I think we'll wrap it up there. But it was really lively debate, really good discussion. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Felina. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener. This has been the last double-digit episode of Disconnected. This was episode 99, and we'll see you for the next one, episode 100.